This video will deal with lean management. Now, this is one video amongst several on this topic, and it's important that you view each of them to get a fuller picture of what's meant by lean management. It's also wise that you stop the videos, make your own notes, and do some research. Read some of the material that we make available also, so that you have a better understanding of what's meant by lean management. However, for this session, let's look at some introductory points. First of all, let's look at traditional systems and compare these with the lean approach to management. So there are, in a sense, two approaches. One is the traditional approach to management, and the other is the lean one. Now, the priorities. Well, with lean, the target market is usually limited, and the options are also limited. So when we deal with this concept of lean management, we're normally dealing with quite a specific market. We're dealing with one that the management can trust, in a sense. In other words, the processes and the ways of making the product and organizing the business, those processes are quite straightforward and are reliable, which enables lean management to take place. If the demand for the product is highly variable, then there's more uncertainty in the business, and stocks will have to be maintained at a higher level. Production in advance of sales will have to take place, and there is more need for more traditional approaches. But if the market is stable, and if the market is, in a sense, continuously producing the same demands on the firm, the same quantities in demand, the same designs, then it's possible for the management to just focus in on selected processes and cut out the unwanted ones. So the introduction of lean management is partially a function of the market conditions in which the business operates. The more stable the market is, the more opportunities there are for lean management. Now, product and service design. Well, engineering in the lean firm, designs, the designs are standard. They're standard outputs. The processes become standard. The processes become well established. And the system only incrementally changes, and only changes by small amounts over periods of time, so that the firm is able to, again, focus in on selected processes, is able to focus in on particular products. It's able to concentrate on the production of those products from start to finish, and anything which is outside of that focus is not necessary. And that's where we get this concept of lean. Also, the capacity. Well, excess capacities are kept to a minimum to avoid inherent waste, particularly in the work-in-progress inventories. Work in progress are particularly costly because work in progress involves the cost of the raw material that's incorporated in the goods, but there's a cost for the work that's already been done on the raw materials, the work in progress. So it really boils down to the stability of the market. If the market is stable, or relatively stable, constant demands coming through, the designs are not being updated on a regular basis, then there are opportunities for the firms or for the companies to focus in on very specific tasks and become lean, cut out the bits that they don't want. And this is the essence, I suppose, of the emphasis, the lean emphasis. Now, with layout, with lean management, equipment is moved as close together as possible so that parts can be actually handled from one worker or machine to the next. So the handling of the material is reduced. The layout of the plant is such that the goods that are being produced, starting with raw material into a semi-processed form, right down until it gets to the end when it's completed, the handling that takes place is reduced. It's done very efficiently. The design of the plant is such that costs are kept to a minimum. It's a very efficient layout, and handling is reduced. Handling the goods, handling the raw materials, handling the finished good, all of that process is reduced because of the design of the plant. In regards to the workforce, well, Lean strives for a broadly skilled, flexible worker who will look for and solve production problems whenever they appear. The workforce must be competent. They must have skills. They must know what their tasks are and be able to complete them efficiently and to a good standard. But also flexible in the sense that if something goes wrong, they can fix it. They can fix it quickly. They're on the spot. They understand what's required. They can fix it. It doesn't mean that they can fix everything. If the machine breaks down, they may not have the ability to fix the machine. But when a tool on the machine wears out, perhaps they're able to replace the tool. They don't have to stand around waiting for someone to come along to replace the tool. They can do it themselves. So that the whole production system doesn't stop. Now inventories, well, in a different video, in the first video on this sequence, I talked about Japan, where this concept originated. Well, in Japan, inventory is seen as an evil in itself. Maybe that's putting it a little too strongly, but it's a resource that's sitting idle and wasting money. Inventory doesn't do anything. Inventory represents an expenditure on the part of the business. The raw materials or the components or whatever has been purchased come into the company and they just sit there waiting to be used. So trying to reduce inventories is essential, and with lean management, that's a big part of the drive, to try and reduce inventories to the bare minimum. In the extreme, using a just-in-time policy, eliminate inventories altogether so that the goods arrive in on the day in which they are required. And by the end of the day, they have been processed and moved on. Now that would be the extreme, but some companies who attempt to practice lean management would still prefer to have a small amount of stock. It's a security thing, just in case something happens. So the idea is to reduce inventories until inventories have almost finished, gone. So that's a big part of lean management. So there would be a much smoother production system. The whole system has to be synchronized. It all has to be attached. The deliveries into the company of raw materials and components should be synchronized with the production that's just about to take place. So the items arrive in, they go straight to the machines. They don't go into stores. They go straight to the machines to be processed, to be dealt with, to move through the production system, right up to the dispatch. The dispatch is waiting to receive the goods just at that moment when they come off the final task. When they come off the final machine, dispatch takes them and sends them off to the customer. So everything is synchronized. Everything is slotted together. Suppliers and the concept of lean. The desire is for frequent, smooth deliveries of small lots with the supplier considered part of the team. So in a sense, the supplier is a part of the production system. The supplier makes many small deliveries. There are no big deliveries. If it's a big delivery, some of the items will be standing idle. It's a big delivery, so the part of the stock from the delivery will stand idle. So small deliveries, very frequent, and in that sense the supplier becomes a part of the production system. The supplier is the first stage, delivering the raw materials or the components to the business just as the business wants them. There is no incoming inspection of the materials to check their quality. All parts must be of specified quality and guaranteed by the supplier. There's no waste in checking the receipts of the goods. The goods, when they arrive, they go straight into production. If the goods are not of good quality, that supplier will be in trouble. The supplier is contracted to deliver goods of a specified quality. If the supplier does not do that, that's in violation of the contract. So there is, in a sense, trust. Well, it's trust backed up by commercial power. The business wants the goods of a good quality that can go straight into the production system. The supplier wants to make the sales and wants to generate revenue for its own business. So it's in the interest of the supplier to supply the goods in the quantities and quality that the buyer wants. So the supplier will therefore deliver these goods in good quality and at the right time. Now, planning and control. Well, in the lean approach, the focus is on control. The procedures are kept simple. They're visual. They can be seen. The management can see what the procedures are, and they're also quite routine. They're repeated. So there's a sort of learning by doing on the part of the operators and the workers, but they build up a skill in processing these goods. Now, you could argue, of course, that in repetitive production, the workers will become very bored and there may be a high staff turnover. That's possible. People who do the same work day in, day out will become bored and will want to find new employment. And that's an issue that needs to be addressed. So that's a downside of the system. But for the moment, in terms of the functioning of lean management, well, the functioning of the lean approach, the functioning is to have simple processes, ones that are easy to see and easy to understand and are as routine as possible. Rather than planning and forecasting for an uncertain future, the company attempts to respond to what actually happens in real time with flexible, quick operations. So the company is responding to its customers. When its customers place an order, they immediately set about producing for that order. And if everything is synchronized and done efficiently, they can complete the order within an efficient time scale and get it off to the customer. So there is no need for stock and forecasting and trying to work out what the ideal amount of stock in the store should be and how many sales will take place in a given time period and so on. The business instead simply takes the order and completes it. The focus is on the order and completing the order and ensuring that the production is done efficiently and also the supply of the raw materials and the goods that are being processed is synchronized with that production. So it's a very efficient system. The quality, well, the traditional approach to quality is to inspect the goods at critical points in the production system to weed out bad items and correct the system. So with a traditional system, there may be quality personnel, people who are dedicated to checking the quality, who go along the line and randomly pick up components as they are being produced and test the components for their quality. It's like a statistical test to see what the quality is like, if the production is within the tolerances that are required. So that's the traditional way in which quality is checked. The quality of the goods received is checked by the stores. The goods are put into the stores. When they're taken out, the quality is checked, and they go through the production system. They're checked at various points in the production system, and at the very end, a sample of them may be checked again to see if the quality is right. Traditional approach to quality. With the lean approach, the goal is zero defects. Zero defects with perfect quality. So if there is any defect in the system must be looked at very carefully to identify what caused the defect and fix it. No defects are allowed in the lean system. So all the output is of perfect quality, exactly as per the specification agreed with the purchaser. Maintenance. Well, in the traditional approach to production, maintenance has been what is termed corrective maintenance, although preventative maintenance is also common. Now, let's just talk about that for a second. With a production system, corrective maintenance is realigning the machines and making sure that anything that's gone wrong has been corrected. Now, this could be the machines are badly set, or the tools on the machines are wearing out and need to be replaced. So sometimes the business waits for it to happen and then corrects it. But by which time, of course, bad quality output has been produced. So it could be that quality checks on the output indicate that corrective maintenance is required for the machinery, for even training for people to make sure that they're correcting poor work routines or poor application of skills on the job. But by which time bad output has been produced, and that's a waste. So the alternative may be preventative maintenance, where whether the machines need it or not, they simply go along and fix the machines. They go along and update the machines on a regular basis. So there is a constant emphasis on quality, and in a sense the system does not stop, and the quality going through it is perfect. There are no defects. And the reason why is because there is preventative maintenance. In other words, even though the machine is working and working perfectly at the moment, it is still maintained. It is still checked and parts are replaced. Even though the parts may still have some life, they are replaced just to prevent a breakdown in the future. In lean organizations, the maintenance function assumes greater responsibility and has greater visibility. In lean production, maintenance is important to maintain the system so that nothing happens to the flow of the work going through the system. Nothing interrupts it. It doesn't break down so that workers and machines are standing idle while one of the machines perhaps is brought back online. Preventative maintenance stops this from happening. The lean enterprise relies much more heavily on the operator for many of the maintenance tasks. The people who work the machines. They may be doing a small task and there may be an element of boredom. So it might be quite interesting for them to have the skills of maintaining their machines, to make sure that their machine is in peak working order. It gives them a more pride in their work as well. They are maintaining their machine and producing quality output exactly that is required. The output is perfect. So with the lean enterprise, the operator is maintaining the machine, preventative maintenance, maintaining the machine and producing the quality output that's required. So that's advancing our understanding of the lean system. And as I said, there are several videos on this topic, and it's important that you study each one of them, make notes, understand what's happening with each of them, and do some reading as well. Don't just use the videos. Do some reading and make your own notes and pad them out there as well. But that's all I'm going to deal with in this session. I'm going to leave it at that and say thank you for watching.